Welcome back to HR Game Changers. Today, we're diving into something, well, a little controversial, a little bit tricky. Is company loyalty dead? I mean, is
Yeah.
it? We've got HR expert Louisa with us to, sort through all this.
Mhm.
And we're going to be looking at an article by Brett Beauchamp Russell called Would You Believe It? Is Company Loyalty Dead?
Yeah, it's a question everyone seems to be asking these days, and to be honest, I'm not sure there's an easy answer.
Right. I mean, think about it. That old school vision of company loyalty, working at one place your entire career, getting the gold watch at retirement, it feels like ancient history now, doesn't it? So, Louisa, what's really changed here?
Well, I think a big part of it is that the whole way we work has changed. I mean, everything's so global now, so fast-paced, and I think for a lot of employees, career growth and developing new skills, that comes first, even if it means moving between companies.
Yeah, it's funny, job hopping used to be kind of a red flag, right? Like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with this person? But now it's almost expected.
Exactly. It's not a negative thing anymore. It's more strategic.
Yeah.
You know, people realize that switching jobs can be the fastest way to move up the ladder and, let's be honest, to get a bigger paycheck.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about work-life balance. Companies that don't get that, well, they're going to see burnout. They're going to see people quitting.
So you're saying it's not just employees changing how they think about loyalty.
Yeah.
Companies are having to adjust too, right?
Absolutely. It's a two-way street. You can't just expect blind loyalty anymore. That's just not how it works. It's more about building a relationship, where both sides feel like they're getting something out of it, something valuable.
Right. And the article talked about some of the ways companies are stepping up their game, like offering competitive pay and benefits.
Yeah.
But that's almost like the bare minimum now, wouldn't you say?
Totally. I mean, those are just the basics. But it's interesting to see how companies are getting more creative with their benefits. They're realizing that people need different things. So you're seeing things like help with elder care, for aging parents, really good mental health resources, even pet insurance and even bereavement leave for pets.
Wow. Yeah, it seems like companies are really trying to figure out what matters most to their employees.
Yeah.
And what about this whole return to office thing? I feel that's been a huge part of this conversation.
Definitely. Companies that are being really rigid about it, they're facing a lot more pushback from employees. I mean, people proved that they could be just as productive, maybe even more so, working from home.
So companies that offer flexibility, they're probably having an easier time, keeping their people happy and attracting new talent, right?
Oh, for sure. Flexibility is like a must-have these days, not just a nice-to-have.
Okay. So we've talked about how companies are adapting,
Mm.
but what does this all mean for employees? I mean, it sounds they're in a pretty strong position right now.
Yeah, I think they are. They have more leverage than ever before. And that means they can, actually ask for what they want, whether that's better pay, better benefits, or, like we said, more flexibility.
And if they don't get it.
Well, they're probably going to start looking for a company that will. Career growth is super important to people, and they're not afraid to make a move to get it.
So it's not just about finding a job anymore. It's about finding the right company,
Right.
one that matches what you want and what you believe in.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly. And I think the companies that are going to be successful, they're the ones that get that. They're the ones that create a positive, supportive environment.
So it seems the balance of power has shifted. It's not just companies calling all the shots anymore.
Right. Things are more balanced. But that raises another question. How do we even rebuild trust and loyalty when everything is so fluid? Is that even possible? It's definitely possible. But both sides have to make an effort. They have to really want to build a relationship that works for both of them.
So where do we even start?
Well, I think open communication is huge. Employees need to feel like they can trust their employers, and they need to know that someone's listening to them.
Makes sense. What else?
And purpose matters. Companies can't just be about making money. They need a mission, something that employees can believe in, something that fits with their own values.
So you're saying if the company's mission matches what the employees believe in, that creates a stronger bond.
For sure. And don't forget about recognition and rewards. They still matter, but they have to be done right.
So ditch the pizza parties and actually give people real praise, real feedback.
Well, exactly. People want to know that their work is valued, and they want to know that there's a path forward, a way to grow within the company.
So basically, the companies that are going to make it, they're the ones that adapt to what employees need now. They're the ones that focus on building trust.
I think so. And the companies that try to hold on to the old ways,
They're going to have a tough time keeping good people.
they'll probably find themselves falling behind. And, all this, it means something for our listeners too. It means we're kind of at this turning point, where the old rules about loyalty, they don't really apply anymore. It's like companies and people, everyone needs to be more, I don't know, more deliberate about these relationships.
So it's not just about showing up, doing your work, and going home. It's it's about actually talking to your boss, to your company, about what you need, about your goals, what you're looking for in this whole work thing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's about companies realizing that their people, I mean, they're the most important thing they've got, right? So they gotta invest in them, give
Hmm.
them real chances to grow, to learn new stuff, and build a culture where everyone feels, appreciated.
I guess it's like we're moving away from this like transactional thing with work
Yeah.
and more toward like a real partnership.
That's a good way to put it. It's about like both sides winning, The company does well, the
Yeah.
employees do well, everybody wins.
Now, I bet some people listening are thinking, okay, but if I'm always like pushing for what I want, what about being loyal to the company?
Well, here's the thing. Loyalty has to go both ways. It's not just about you being loyal to a company, it's about the company being loyal to you.
So like if you're trying to grow, trying to learn, making sure you're getting what you need, that's not being disloyal.
Not at all. It's about finding that sweet spot, I guess. Where what you need and what the company needs, it all lines up.
So you're saying that's where loyalty is changing. It's not just about like blind devotion anymore.
Right.
It's more about like respect, respecting each other
Yep.
and having the same values.
I think you're right. Respect, shared values. I think that's really what it comes down to. This new kind of loyalty.
So are we saying that the old way of thinking, like you stick with one company no matter what, it's over?
It's definitely not as common anymore, but it's not like loyalty has gone completely extinct,
It's just different.
It's evolved. It's more dynamic, more adaptable. It's more about how we work now.
This has been, I don't know, this has really made me think. Louise, I feel we've gone way beyond just asking, is company loyalty dead? We're figuring out what it means now.
That's a really important shift, I think. It's not about being stuck at one place forever. It's
Hmm.
about finding a place where you feel like you belong, where people appreciate you, where you can grow.
It's about both sides realizing they have to work at it,
Yeah.
to build a relationship that works for the long haul.
Exactly. It has to go both ways.
So, Louisa, we've talked about how things have changed, what companies are doing, what employees are doing, but what does all this mean for everyone listening?
It means we're in a whole new world of work. The old playbook, it's out of date. It means companies and people, they have to be more proactive. They have to be intentional about building relationships that benefit both sides. Relationships built on trust.
So you're saying it's not just about punching the clock. It's about having those conversations with your boss about what you want, what you need, what you expect.
Right. And it's about companies getting it, understanding that their employees, their biggest asset. So they need to invest in them, give them chances to grow, to develop, to learn, and create a workplace, a culture where everyone feels, valued,
Like,
respected.
it's almost like we're moving away from this transactional thing about work. We're moving more toward a partnership.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's about creating a win-win for the company, for the employee.
This has been fascinating, Louisa. I feel like I've got like a whole new understanding of company loyalty now.
I'm glad to hear that. I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
Before we wrap up, I kind of want to leave folks with a question, something to think about. As you're figuring out your own career in this whole new world, ask yourself, what does loyalty even mean to you? What would make you feel more connected to a company?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, there's no right answer, is there? But just thinking about it, I think that's really powerful.
Because ultimately, it's up to each of us, right? We decide what loyalty means,
Mm.
and we find those places, those companies that fit what we want, what we believe in.
Well said. It's been great talking about all this with you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into company loyalty. It's definitely it's a changing world out there. We'll catch you next time on HR Game Changers.